Good morning, my dear students. I hope you are safe and secure at home. Welcome back to our social studies online class, History Part 16th lesson, Impact of Colonialism in India. In the previous class, you have studied how forests were used before British rule and how forests were used during British rule. Next, Adivasis revolt, the Santal revolt, the Birsa Munda revolt, and Alluri Sita Ramaraju and Komaram Bhim. Now let us discuss the British government's industrial policy. The Indian industry. What happened during the British rule? Why did the Indian industry grow further after the World War I? The reasons behind the growth of Indian industry. The imports are completely fell down sharply. There were no other alternative other than the availability of the Indian products. So obviously Indian products of the factories started to expand and sell their products in larger number, whereas the other foreign products which are to be imported from the Britain have been diverted to the other places. This is one reason. The second reason was the Britain was completely busy in World War I, where they need to do arrangement and supplies for World War I. And the other reason was there was production in the war equipment rather than production of the goods which are required in the Indian market. So this made the reasons for the growth of the Indian factories to a larger extent. So in 1896, the income of British government of India reduced a lot. The government started thinking of ways to increase its income. So in its time of difficulty, the government levied a 3.5% tax on clothes coming from Britain to India. So it is also levied the same amount of tax, 3.5% on clothes being made in India as well. This tax became the cause of a long conflict between the Indian people and the British government. Indian had understood that the government would protect only the interest of the British factories. Indian people opposed this tax in India and demanded to remove it. Indian industry during the First World War. During the First World War, from 1914 to 1918, the import of foreign goods into India reduced. One reason was the cargo ship were on war related duties and hence there was a shortage of ships. Second one, in the factories of Europe, things needed for the war was being made. So very few goods meant for the Indian market were available. After the war ended, Indian factory owners purchased a large numbers of European machines and set up new industries. Indian industrialists began demanding that the government should levy a tax on foreign goods so that the sales of Indian goods might continue in future as well. Next topic, problems of Indian industry at the time of independence. So the problems of the Indian industrialists during the British government were: the British government has levied a special tax on cloth made by Indian weavers in order to help the cloth industry of Britain. Second one is the British government refused to levy the similar tax on the British cloth. Third one, later the government levied a 3.5% tax on the British goods and the same tax was levied on the cloth made in India too. So in order to promote Indian industry, Many organizations of industrialists were formed even during British times. One of the most important was the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industries FICCI. Such organization brought up the problems of the industrialist before the government. Next topic, laborers in Indian industries, industrial towns and labor settlements. From 1850 onwards, mission-based industries had started setting up in India. The biggest industry was the spinning and weaving of textiles. In 1905, around 2.25 lakh laborers in the textile industry, 1.5 lakh in the jute industry, and about 1 lakh in coal mines. Needy farmers, laborers, and artisans started coming from villages to the cities in the hope of employment. Along with them or after them, their relatives, neighbors, and friends also came to the cities. The number of laborers in cities increased. Huts of the laborers started setting up around the factories. Work condition. In the early phase, work would begin every day at dawn in the mills and would stop only at sundown. First one, the laborers would wake up early and go to the mills, men and women as well as children. Once they started working on the machines, there was no question of stopping. There was no fixed break even for meals. The laborers would eat their food in 15 to 20 minutes break from work. There was no separate place to eat either. Next one, the laborers spent the whole day in the heat, humidity, noise, dust of the mills. Even a weekly holiday was not allowed. Sometimes they fell ill or had to attend to family duties. People also got excited and tired of work, but if they did not go to work, they lost the day's wages. At the end of the month, the mill owners would not even make the full payment to the laborers. There was also plenty of fines. The workers would fine the laborers for the smallest reasons. If they came late, if the cloth got spoiled, if the owner thought the labor did not work sincerely, there would be fines and they were deducted from the month's wages. All the laborers, men, women, and children, had to work under such condition of 14 hours in the summers and 12 hours in the winter. If a mill suffered losses, the owner would simply throw out some laborers and reduce the wages of those who continued work. However, if the mill earned a profit, would the owner ever increase the wages? So this is the work condition in the early days of factories in India. Labor's struggles. Laborers struggled against their oppressive working condition. From 1870, there was one strike after another strike. There were no organizations or unions of the laborers. The laborers of each mill would get together to go on strike and would put pressure on the owners. They went on strike for fixed income and other facilities such as regulation of working hours, improvement of their working condition, weekly break and leave, regarding employment of children. The laborers not only fought for their wages, they also fought against the British for the freedom of India. Addressing laborers' problems. The strange thing was that in the beginning, most of the educated people of India did not pay attention to the problems of laborers. The industrialists and social workers of Britain began to put pressure on the government that there should be laws to improve the condition of laborers in India similar to the laws in Britain. As a result of this pressure, the government seriously started thinking of reducing the working hours of laborers and making laws that would give laborers holidays. Laws for the welfare of laborers at the timeline. The government implemented the first Factory Act in 1881 and made the following rules especially for the welfare of working children. Children below the age of 7 cannot be employed in factories. Children between 7 and 12 years of age cannot be made to work more than 9 hours a day, and they must be given a 1 hour break each day. They must also be given 4 days leave each month. The large number of laborers in industries was that of men. It was not until 1911 that laws for their welfare were made. According to the Factory Act of 1911, adult male laborers could not be made to work for more than 12 hours every day. After every 6 hours of work, there would be a break for half an hour. In 1891, laws were made in India in the interest of women laborers to ensure that women laborers cannot be made to work more than 11 hours a day. Women laborers must be given an hour and half break each day. Children's working hours were reduced from 9 to 7 hours day, and factory employees were forbidden to employ children below 9 years of age. Labor's organizations. With the time, the problems of the laborers became well known. Some educated people supported the laborers, and they began writing articles in the newspapers to explain their problems to people. Small organizations for the welfare of laborers also started emerging. Unions began to be established from the early 1920s. People influenced by socialist thought were prominent among them. One such union formed was Girni Kamgar Union, with the help of which workers in Mumbai went on very effective strike in 1928. In Ahmedabad, under the influence of Gandhiji, a powerful union known as the Mazdoor Mahajan was formed. The formation of labor unions made the government and mill owners very anxious. Laws began to be made to put restrictions on strike. The government appointed labor officers to look after the welfare of the laborers. The government began making efforts to ensure that the laborers solved their problems through the labor officers rather than go to the unions. Okay children, I hope you all understood the topics. Problems of Indian industry at the time of independence, laborers in the industries, working condition, labor struggles, and labor organizations. Thank you.